Oh, so once again, welcome back to Smart 256. Here we are for another video, another tour, and it's quite amazing. We are in the Kabaka's Palace, one of the prominent kingdom in Uganda. So I'm with my tour guide. He can introduce himself.
Yeah, so my name is Elvis, and I'm the one who's going to take you around. And the place where we are at the King's Palace, the capital for the Kingdom of Buganda. In Uganda, we do still have kingdoms, though they are symbolic. Kingdoms do not have political powers. Actually, the 5 major kingdoms we have kingdoms like Busoga in the east, when you cross River Nile. We have Bunyoro in the west along Lake Albert when you're crossing to Congo. We have Ankola and Toro in the southwest. Then Buganda occupies the central part.
But I think Buganda is the greatest.
Yeah, Buganda is one of the biggest kingdoms. Actually, it is the biggest. According to the United Nations statistics of last year, Uganda as a country has 48 million people. But Buganda Kingdom, from the 48, it takes 14 million. So it is the biggest and the dominant kingdom. Buganda, it is the same kingdom which gives the country Uganda the name. The British, during the colonial times, they were able to cancel B from Buganda. Then we go to Uganda or Uganda. So they did this. It was a way of easing the administration at the coast of East Africa. So this kingdom where we are, Buganda, it is based on clans. The kingdom has 56 clans, each clan with a clan symbol, which we call a totem. So we have 56 totems. Okay. Some totems are animals, some are plants, some are insects, some are birds. In the culture of the kingdom, if your totem is edible, you're not allowed to eat it. We have edible totems. You will find that people who come from the mushroom clan, they can't eat mushrooms. People who come from the sheep clan can't eat sheep. People who come from the grasshopper clan can't eat grasshopper.
And which is, of all those, which is the biggest clan?
The clans, some of the biggest clans, we have the Langfish, the Mamba clan. It is a big clan. You find that when such clans continue to be bigger, they split them. They continue splitting them. Initially, clans were like 52. We reached 54. We are now 56. Yeah, we have the antelope clans. They are also big clans. We have the birds like the cattle egret, the pied crow. They will continue to be split to get more other clans. So this kingdom is one of the oldest kingdoms we have in East and Central Africa. It has existed over 800 years back. 800 years? Yeah, 800 years back. All of those years, this kingdom has had 36 kings. Today the reigning king, or the current king, we call him Kabaka. Kabaka means king. This means he is the supreme ruler of his kingdom.
Okay.
So when the king is alive, we call him Kabaka. When he's passed, we call him Sekabaka, to mean that he is late. Yeah.
He's no more.
Yeah, he is late. Sekabaka means late. The current one, call him Kabaka. So Kabaka Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II, he is the 36th king of Buganda Kingdom. So the king doesn't sleep here, though it is the capital of the kingdom. The reasons why he can't sleep here is due to the bad history and the memories attached on this palace. This palace was once attacked by Idi Amin in 1966. We got our independence on 9th October 1962. Then, when we got our independence, King Mutesa, he was same time the king, same time president. He became president of Uganda in 1963 after independence. This gentleman got misunderstandings between him and his prime minister called Milton Obote. Obote ordered Idi Amin, who was an army commander by that time, to attack this palace. A number of Ugandans were tortured and they were killed in this place. The king even managed to escape. He ran to Britain, where he lived up to 1969. He died from there. Okay. Here, the Prime Minister Milton Obote made himself the president. He even abolished all kingdoms. Obote's abolishing of kingdoms is specifically targeted Buganda, since it is the dominant. He even continued and turned this palace into a barracks. Soldiers were living here. It was a way of demoralizing the people of the kingdom, that it will not come back.
So it was a barracks by then?
Yeah, it was a barracks. So even when Idi Amin became president in 1971, Idi Amin continued using this palace as a barracks. He even built an armory down, which you are going to see, and later turned into a torture chamber. So thousands of Ugandans lost their lives during the period of Idi Amin and Milton Obote on this place where we are. And in the culture of the kingdom, the king is not allowed to shed blood intentionally. So we believe that this place was once a bloodshed. That's why the king can't sleep here.
So that's the reason why he does not.
Yeah, he doesn't sleep here. But he has his offices here as the king. When he has the visitors to meet, he meets them from here. After meeting them, he proceeds out to other palaces. The king has other palaces outside, but this is his main palace. It is the capital for the kingdom of Buganda. In Buganda kingdom, whenever a king came on the throne, he had a role of identifying a place where he can build his palace. Kings liked hilltops for the strategic importance, security purposes.
I think we can move around.
Yeah, we normally do not exceed those ends.
Okay.
The king has no problem with going at the back, but the security men here, they are the ones the problem. They don't give us that chance.
They don't allow.
Yeah, for the king, he has no problem. Yeah, but the security, which is always here, they are the ones who don't give us that opportunity. So when the king got a place where he could build his palace, that place became the capital for the kingdom. And when that king died, chances were so high for him to be buried in that very palace. Burying the king in that very palace, it meant that it is the end of his regime. You're going to get a regime of a new king. Yeah.
So a king is not allowed to be buried in the palace.
Anciently, a place where the king has built his palace, it became the capital for the kingdom of that kingdom. When that king died, chances were high for him to be buried in that very place which he built.
Yeah.
So it meant that it is the end of his regime. We're going to get a new king. When a new king comes in, he will discover another place where he will build his own palace. Yeah. Kasubi Tombs, where we have the last 4 kings, it was once a palace for King Mutesa I. It was once also the capital for the kingdom. But when King Mutesa died, he was buried in his very palace. In that place, Kasubi Royal Tombs, you have the last 4 kings of Uganda. Their bodies were laid to rest in that place. That place, Kasubi, it was once the world's biggest grass-thatched house. That place, when you go into inside, the structure is in the form of an inverted woven basket when you go into inside. So King Mwanga was the first king to occupy here. Initially, this hill where we are, it belonged to the people of the Hippopotamus clan. A hippopotamus is also a clan to the people of Uganda, and the people of the Hippo are herbalists. They have a role of providing medicine and the herbs to the people of the kingdom. So they had many of their grinding stones here, which they could use to grind the herbs and the medicine. In the local language, which is Luganda, a grinding stone is called Olubengo when it is singular.
The herbalist is same as the traditional healers?
Yeah, they are more in the same umbrella. So when the grinding stone is singular, it's Olubengo. When they are in plural form, they are called Mengo, where today the hill is deriving the name from, to be called Mengo Hill or Mengo Palace.
Okay.
Mwanga's the king. He came into power during the colonial era, and he was the king who fought so many battles with the British government. Actually, these battles even caused his death. He was exiled in the Seychelles, where he died from in 1897. His body was brought back and laid to rest in the Kasubi Royal Tombs in 1903. So in the culture of Buganda, the throne is from father to son, but firstborns are not allowed to be kings. The first son is not allowed to succeed on the throne.
What could be the reason behind that?
Yeah, the first son is given a title to be the caretaker of the entire family, but not to be king. Again, the first son is the chief advisor to the son who becomes the king. In Buganda kingdom, any son can succeed on the throne as long as you're not the first son. And in the culture of the kingdom, any woman can give birth to the successor of the throne. It's not only the queen. Up to date, in Buganda, even if a woman is not practically married to the king, every woman calls the king my husband or our husband.
Okay.
It's not necessary that will come and take you as his wife, but it's a sign of respect they give him.
So even your wife has to call a king
Yeah.
her husband?
Yes, it's a sign of respect. We believe that every woman belongs to the king in the kingdom.
Is the husband of all?
Of all, yeah.
Okay.
So this gave ancient kings an opportunity to marry a number of wives. When you visit Kasubi Royal Tombs, King Mutesa is the first who built the place. He had 84 official wives.
84.
Yeah, and over 127 children.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second king to sleep, you have had so far 3 kings. He was called King David Chwa. He came on the throne when he was only 1 year old. After the exiling of his dad in the Seychelles, he was given reagents to help him in decision making. He grew up. David Chwa, at the age of 17, he was the first king of Uganda to travel so many outside countries. When he reached Britain, he was the king who admired the modern buildings and structures. When he came back, he was the king who embarked on the construction of this structure, the palace. By that
Came
time,
back with the idea.
yeah, by that time in Africa, it was difficult to find a modern house. So it took him almost 11 years to build this structure from 1922 to 1933. The structure which we have here, it was one of the first modern structures we got in our country, Uganda. It has a name, it's called Twekobe. Twekobe is a Luganda word which symbolizes like unity. The clans joined the efforts, they united to help the king to achieve his goal of building the modern palace. So we call him the first king to sleep in a modern house. Okay. When you look at it, it's in the fashion of the British, because it's where he got the fashion from. This gentleman, we call him a liberal king. Many societies in Africa never prioritized women. Whenever a girl reached the age of 9, 10, 12, she was forced into marriage. When this king came back, he was the king who embarked on girl child education. Actually, girls started going to school during the reign of this king, David Chwa.
So before, the other kings wouldn't allow girls to...
Many societies in Africa, girls were reserved for marriage purposes.
Meant to do domestic work.
Yeah. Boys were the ones who could go to school, acquire some good education, some manual work, but girls were specifically meant for marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, but when he moved to Europe, he saw countries providing equal opportunities to girls and boys. When he came back, he embarked on girl child education. He came up with an idea that whenever you educate the girl child, we're educating the nation. In Uganda, we go to the first woman doctor during the reign of this gentleman.
And who was she?
She was Lady Josephine Namboze from Masaka. Yeah, she's a professor at Makerere. She was a professor at Makerere University. When you visit Makerere Library, she has her sect there. So he was a liberal king. Furthermore, he was the king who allowed women to eat eggs and chicken. Our culture never allowed women to eat eggs and chicken. So he participated in the First World War on the side of the British as a captain, but unfortunately he died of diabetes at the age of 43, and he was buried at the Kasubi Royal Tombs. Then his son Mutesa II became the last king to sleep in the place. So King Mutesa was educated like the dad, David Chwa. Mutesa traveled so many outside countries. He graduated in the Sandhurst Military Academy after the Mangadelin College. Back then, he was from here, Makerere University. So he came back to Africa when many African countries were struggling for their independence. He engaged himself, and in Uganda, we got our independence on 9th October.
And he became the first president.
Yeah, he became Uganda's first constitutional president. That's when he got misunderstandings between him and his Prime Minister Milton Obote, and this palace was attacked.
How old was he when he got that title of the president?
By that time, King Mutesa, he was in his late 40s, because when he died in 1969, he was celebrating his 45th birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he became president.
He ruled for a period of about 5 years.
Mutesa became president in 1963, then 1966. The palace was attacked. He became president for only 3 years.
Oh.
That's when he got misunderstanding between him and his Prime Minister Milton Obote. Then the palace was attacked. We're going to proceed and see some of his vehicles here. We shall see the Idi Amin's gun. We'll be able to see the Royal Mile, then we slope down to the torture chambers of Idi Amin.
Okay.
Yeah. So this palace is sitting on 260 acres.
That's huge.
Of land, yeah. 260 acres of land. The families which you are seeing around here, they're the families of the soldiers. The central government came into agreement with the kingdom that the kingdom shall not own a private security body. The kingdom collects security from the central government. So the families of the soldiers who guard the palace are the ones who are living around here. These houses were built in the 1930s to be offices for the palace chiefs and the artisans. the kingdom does embark on the renovation. We have the upper quarters that side, they've been renovating. We're soon shifting to the same end side to do the same work of the renovation. So we have these vehicles stacked here. These vehicles belong to King Mutesa, Uganda's first constitutional president. In the late 50s, this gentleman was recognized to be one of the richest men in Africa. He used to drive good vehicles. But when Idi Amin attacked the palace on the orders of the prime minister, he was ordered to destroy whatever belonged to the king. Most of the king's cars were burnt, others were smashed using tractors and were buried in the ground. These were just picked from where they were thrown and they were all collected from here. So these are different parts of different vehicles. Others were even unearthed and were stacked here. On top, this black one is a type of a Benz Daimler. This is a Daimler Benz. The Daimler Benz is sitting on a frame of a Cadillac. Then at the back we have wheels of a Rolls-Royce limousine.
Oh, it's a collection of the cars that they used.
Yeah.
Oh.
For the Rolls-Royce, one of them was fixed last year and it was given to his son, the reigning king, as a birthday gift. Yeah.
It still moves.
Yeah, he has one of the Rolls-Royce. For the Rolls-Royce, Mutesa had 3 of them. Yeah, that is a Daimler Benz, the Cadillac, and the Rolls-Royce limousine. Other vehicles like the Bentley, they were sold during the reign of Idi Amin. Yeah.
Sold by Idi Amin.
Yeah, yeah.
He saw the opportunity of getting that man.
Yeah. So this side is where we have the Idi Amin's gun. Idi Amin became Uganda's 3rd president in 1971. Idi Amin was a close friend to Colonel Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. Idi Amin had rumors that they were planning a coup against his government. He ran to Gaddafi and he collected some support of military tools, and this was one of them. There were quite many here, but when the kingdoms were reinstated, other weapons were shifted and were taken by the central government. This was retained back because it was no longer working and act as a memory that the palace was once a military barracks.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this one was collected from Egypt?
No, Libya. Libya. Yeah, of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. So Gaddafi was a good ally with the Soviets. The machine itself traces its origin from the Soviets. Then when he got it from the Soviets, Gaddafi shifted it to his great friend Idi Amin. So it has stayed us from the 70s up to date. Yeah. There were quite many here. Others were shifted by the central government when the kingdoms were reinstated. This was retained, it was no longer working. Yeah. So you're going to see the Royal Mile here. We're going to see the Royal Mile Road, which connects the palace to the parliament. Then we proceed down to the torture chambers of Idi Amin.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's called the Lord?
It's called the Royal Mile.
Royal Mile.
Yeah.
Oh.
There is the same road. It can be found in Scotland, Edinburgh, in King George, his palace. He had what we call the Royal Mile. So King Mutesa visited that palace of King George in Scotland, Edinburgh. He liked it. When he came back, because the Royal Mile of King George was connecting his castle to his parliament, so when Mutesa came back home, he already had his palace here. He built that parliament. That is the parliament for the Kingdom of Uganda. That
straight.
Yeah, it is the oldest parliament we have in Eastern Central Africa, built in 1955. So Mutesa, when he came back home, he built the parliament. He made sure that it was facing his house. Then he constructed a road joining the two buildings. It became the Royal Mile for the Kingdom of Uganda. It is exactly 1 mile from the entrance of the palace to the entrance of the parliament.
Oh, that's the logic behind.
Yeah.
From the entrance to the entrance, it is 1 mile.
It is 1 mile. The same road has 2 roundabouts. There is this small one here which has blocks in the middle of it. This one. Yeah. There is another one in form of a splitted drum in the middle of the road. The king is the only person allowed to go through these roundabouts. Mutesa was a close friend to Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia. That's why he got this idea of the splitted roundabouts. Today the king is the only person allowed to go through them. It's a sign of respect and more symbolic that when the king is speaking or making any decision, the king is always straightforward.
Supreme.
Yeah, he does not beat around the bush. Yeah, on the same road is where we can find the sculptures of the totems. of the different animals, of the plants, of the insects, of the birds. They run up to the entrance of the parliament. Yeah.
Oh, you have the history. Didn't it take you a long time to get that history all together?
No, you just have passion for history.
You have summarized the things that I studied for almost 10 years and I never quote them perfectly. Okay.
So we are going to sit down the Idi Amin's torture chamber. It is one of the most visited places we have actually in Kampala. Most of the visitors who come here and want to know about Idi Amin, they want to see this place, the torture chambers. So it is also one of the reasons why the king can't sleep in his palace due to the suffering.
Bye.